Welcome back, Kevin. This is our 5th episode of our podcast. I'm super excited, and we have a special guest with us tonight.
Yep, Emma is joining us. Say hey, Emma.
Hey.
Guys, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you guys get notified every time we post a video. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a snack, and let's get into it. We got this week is the Villisca Axe Murder House.
I like that one.
Yep. It is located in Villisca, Iowa. This was the home of the Moore family. So Josiah Moore, he was 43 years old, and he was a prominent businessman in the town. He was very well liked by everybody. And in the house lived him, his wife Sarah, 39, and their 4 children, Herman, age 11, Catherine, age 10, Arthur, age 7, and Paul, 5. On June 9th in 1912, the Moore family was attending an evening church program. While there, Catherine Moore asked her 2 little friends, whom were neighbors, to stay the night, and that was Ina Stillinger, age 8, Lena Stillinger, age 12. After the program, the 8 of them ended up returning to the Moore residence to go to sleep for the night. And this is when it all changed. On the next morning, June 10th, neighbors started noticing the house was really quiet. Like, that was very unusual, you know, with them having 4 kids.
Kids there.
Especially, technically having 6 kids there that night, like something was off. So they went to go check, and that's when they discovered the, horrible crime scene. At that time, all 8 occupants were found dead, and they had been bludgeoned to death inside the house. And it didn't take authorities very long to discover it was an axe. And the bad thing about it is he used the blunt force of the axe.
Ew, could you imagine?
Yeah, so whoever did that, and the way they discovered that is if you looked above the bed where he would swing it back, the axe was actually getting stuck in the wall to the sharp end. So yeah, it was really
horrifying.
bad. Yeah. They really then discovered that after he did this, he literally went downstairs and made himself something to eat.
Really?
Yeah. Ate the meal. Then he went around covering all the mirrors with cloth, and then covered all the victims' faces with cloth. And a lot of people believe that is actually what has caused the Moore family to remain inside the house, like the spirits, because they could not cross over because their faces were covered, and then of course the mirrors. Now, I've heard of mirror covering when someone dies, and that's so the soul doesn't get trapped in the mirror, but I'm not sure the face. But a lot of times if you look at true crime, they will cover the victims like with sticks or something to try to be like it's an undoing of the crime. So maybe that's what he was doing. They actually believe that he snuck into the house while the family was out at the church thing and hid in a closet until the family came back and eventually fell asleep. But could you imagine, the 2 girls that stayed were in the downstairs bedroom. So they can hear everything that's going on upstairs, like the walking, the heavy boots and everything. Over 100 locals walked through the house while the bodies were still laying in their beds.
What?
People were morbid back then.
Obviously, I mean,
very. Like, they just walked around the house looking at it. They believe the oldest Stillinger girl was awake at the time because she was actually pulled down in the bed, laying sideways. Her arms were up, and she had defensive wounds on her arms and hands.
She was fighting for
her
life.
So she was trying to fight back. So since then, there's been a lot of people that has lived inside the house, but nobody wants to stay in it because of the terrifying occurrences they have. In the 30s, there was a woman that actually lived in the house, and she claims that she woke up to a man holding an axe was standing at the foot of her bed. So just imagine if you woke up to that. 2014, this is the really scary part. In 2014, a paranormal investigator was investigating the house, and he ended up stabbing himself, and stab flighted out. So
that's scary. Like, he Didn't even realize what he was doing when he
Yeah,
did
it's
it.
kind of like he was under this like possessive thing, and a lot of people believe that it was the killer doing that, because many believe, yes, the Moore family and the Stillinger sisters are still there, but also the killer. But he refuses to talk about the house today or what had happened to him, so he's like totally against it.
I have a quick question. Did the killer die in that house, or he just
No.
walked out the front door like it was nothing?
He just escaped. There was quite a few suspects, but the particular one that people really leaned towards was this traveling reverend, and his name was George Kelly. Everybody known him as Reverend George Kelly. He knew things only the killer would know, and he ended up telling authorities that a shadow in the yard told him to take the axe and to commit the crimes. He was tried. It became a hung jury. He was retried again and ultimately acquitted. Yeah. It's been 100 years, over 100 years since these murders happened, and no one, it is still unsolved. It's still a cold case as of today.
So the so-called preacher said that, a shadow that's out in that yard is the one that made me kill those people in that house.
Yes.
So I wonder if the shadow did the same thing to that investigator that was sitting at the kitchen table.
Very well could have been. It's hard telling if it was the shadow thing telling him this, or many believe that Reverend George Kelly is still inside, that it's kind of like hell in a way. I guess like a purgatory where he comes back and it's just kind of like residual stuff going on, like repetitive. But okay, so these are the hot spots inside the house. The first one is the downstairs bedroom, and this is, of course, where Ina and Lena were both killed. And then the both upstairs bedrooms, and this is where the entire Moore family was killed. And the house is very notorious for poltergeist activity. So closet doors opening and slamming, which a lot of people contribute that to the killer. Children's toys being thrown about. They think, it's just very much. But a lot of people have speculations on who they think did this, but I really think it was the Reverend. And I know Project Fear had went back, earlier this year there. And according to the devices the responses they were getting, it was the Reverend according to the victims.
Yeah, because they got preacher a lot through there in their device. I do remember that.
Preacher and Reverend, and I'm a firm believer that's what I think. It was the Reverend George Kelly that committed the crimes. But for a little over $400, you can travel to Villisca, Iowa, and go and investigate the Villisca
That's on
Axe
our
Murder
list.
House. Yeah, that is on our list to go. So,
Do you think the family knew the Reverend? I think they would have to know him.
I think
for
they
them
knew who
to
he
know
was.
where to go inside this house. And
well,
stuff.
they said that he was actually at that evening church program, but left early.
That just gives me chills.
But he was like this traveling preacher. But even if you look at photographs of him, he's just a creep. Like he just looks.
They could just use the traveling preacher to get his victims. That's what he done.
Yeah.
But tell me how many he's got before.
But a lot of people believe he was paranoid schizophrenic, delusional, that he's seen the shadow thing and it just caused him to do what he did. But it's just really messed up to think about 8 victims and 6 of those were children inside this house. And to think something like this would happen in 1912.
Yeah, and the way he done it. With the dull blade.
Yeah, like the blunt end of the axe. Not even, that's...
Severed.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it's horrible.
It is horrible.
But okay, let's go ahead and get to our cryptid of the week. So the cryptid we got this week is a very legendary one. It's the Loch Ness Monster.
I like that one.
So, also known simply as Nessie, is a mythical creature in Scottish folklore that is said to inhabit Lake Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. She's described as a large, long-necked creature with 2 humps protruding from the water, which we've all seen.
Oh, yeah.
Nessie. We've all seen the pictures of her. But this is the really messed up thing I did not know about. The earliest record of a so-called monster in Lake Loch Ness was from the year 565 AD.
Well, I didn't know that.
So for years, people have claimed to see this monster, like
Right there tells you if it's 500, what did you say, 500 BC?
AD.
AD, then you know that's out there. Like, come on.
But she gained international, like, celebrity, attention in 1933 after a couple reported seeing a large creature in the lake. But still to this day, people still claim to see old Nessie swimming around Lake Loch Ness. So I think it'd be cool. I wouldn't want to, like, be in the water with her or anything. But yeah.
What do you think, Emma?
I'm gonna go see it just to go.
Yeah.
Put a saddle on that thing and ride it around the
Oh
water.
my gosh. Could you imagine? They'd make a killing.
Yeah, they would.
If she was friendly, like, I don't know if she is or not, but if she
sure
was friendly, you could
She
saddle
would
her
like
up.
a snack.
I guess our next segment is the serial killer of the week. And this week we got Eileen Wuornos.
Yeah, I like her. I'm sorry. I do like her. I know I shouldn't, but...
So Eileen Wuornos was born Eileen Pittman on February 29th in 1956 in Rochester, Michigan. Eileen had a troubling childhood from the start. She had never met her father due to him being in prison for SAing a 7-year-old girl. Her father was diagnosed he was a schizophrenic, and he ended up taking his own life in prison in January of 1969. Her mother had her and her brother very young, and at age 4, Eileen's mother abandoned her and her brother, which led to them being adopted by their alcoholic grandparents.
Neither one of them really had a chance.
No.
Sounds like.
Eileen would claim her grandfather, whom was an alcoholic, was essaying her and beating her. At age 14, Eileen would become pregnant after she was assaulted by a family friend. Eileen would give birth to a son in March of 1971, and she placed the child up for adoption. I think that was the best option, really.
Yeah.
Eileen was then kicked out of her grandparents' house at age 15, and this is where she would support herself through prostitution. In 1976, Eileen hitchhiked to Florida, and this is where she met a 69-year-old yacht club president, Louis Fell. And they married soon after that. But the marriage didn't last long because she would beat him with his own cane.
She wanted his money.
She would eventually continue being a hitchhiking hooker and eventually made her way to Daytona Beach, Florida. And at age 30, she met a woman by the name of Tyra Moore, and they would begin a romantic relationship. That would all change after one night while she was hooking. She was picked up by a 51-year-old man by the name of Richard Charles Mallory, whom she said beat her and essayed her. And out of fear of him killing her, she fired multiple shots into him. So she shot him a bunch. She then stole his car and his belongings, and his body was found several days later in a wooded area. But I don't know how well you can claim self-defense eventually.
So you really say she's like friggin'...
She had loaded in him, but she would go on to kill 6 more men within a 12-month period. Eileen tried to claim that all these men beat her, essayed her, and then tried to kill her, but nobody was believing it. I mean, I could get it after the first, but 6 more times.
Yeah, come on.
She was tried and was found guilty of all the murders, and she was sentenced to death. Before she was executed, she ended up admitting the first one was self-defense, but then the other ones were simply because she wanted to rob them. So I guess she finally did kind of admit to something, and she just wanted to steal their car. On October 9, 2002, she declined her last meal and asked simply for black coffee. Ugh. But the really crazy thing, I think she was like, if you actually watch the documentary about her, like, she was...
Kooky.
out there. Her last words before execution were, "I'm sailing with the Rock. I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus. June 6th like the movie. Big mother ship. I'll be back. I'll be back." And then she was pronounced dead at 9:47 a.m. So that was the end of Eileen.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Yeah, she was.
I think after she killed her first guy, she liked the thrill of it and just kept going.
She's like all about, I don't know. It's always the families that cause people to become the way they are.
I mean, she did have a rough life. You think about it,
She
she
did.
got assaulted a lot, and then, you know, dad was in jail or prison. Her mom didn't want her. Grandparents didn't want her. And then, you know, do you think that if she would have kept her child, do you think she would have went down the road she went?
Honestly, I don't know, but I also think if she would have kept it, it would have eventually been taken from her, just because. I mean, that's one thing I will say she did smartly, was she placed the child up for adoption, give it a better life. So, we ready for scary stories?
Let's go.
Okay. This first story is from Rhonda. She says, I had a jewelry box my aunt bought me. The little ballerina danced when you open the top, but you had to wind it up to twirl it and play music. It would go off by itself. It got on my nerves, so I threw it away. Well, the next day I looked up and it was back on my dresser. I don't know, it's like an Ouija board thing. I was so confused because I knew I had threw it in the trash outside. So I tossed it back outside and it came back again. I ended up having to break it in a million pieces and toss it out again, and it never returned. The catch is that it only played at 3:17 a.m. It was a few nights in a row and randomly through the day, and every night at that time it went off. Not sure if it was paranormal, but my aunt's house was haunted too. Lots of footsteps upstairs when no one was home. When that guy, you know. So I'm not sure where she got it either.
I think that's paranormal, especially if it's every day at 3:17 and you have to wind it. Because I had one of those. Mine never went off. So, I mean,
I don't
it had
think-
to be. Because there's one things on the back of it.
That
Yeah.
never went off though.
Exactly.
It's her telling where she got it. It's probably some
I probably would have wrapped that up in chain.
an
And
old estate
Yeah.
sale. Ugh.
I would have wrapped up in chain, threw it in the water. Hope it never came back.
Yeah, I didn't watch it be back soaking wet on your shelf. The next thing we have here are a series of photos that Jeremy took. And the first one we have here is the one he took at the museum. Now, this was taken back in 2018 when me and him got to go in there overnight. So, I don't know, you tell me what you think.
I see a face.
Well, see, I see that face.
So, Jeremy always thought that this right here looked like a sword. So, I don't know.
It kind of does look at the face right here. Then you see kind of like a body coming out of it. Yeah. Look, it looks like it's got like a Civil War hat on.
Yeah. So that's one thing, like, we always thought, like, Jeremy even kind of wondered, like, it kind of looks like John Hunt Morgan down there.
Oh.
I don't know. John Hunt Morgan did cut through Salem, but he didn't die here or anything. But this one is at Waverly.
Is that when we went?
You see the...
Yeah, there's like someone standing there.
Someone standing at the end of the hallway. I don't know what that is, but it's really freaky.
What the? What is this peeking around the corner?
Exactly. I have no idea. I'm on the children's ward, so...
I see that. It's like someone's standing like peeking around the corner.
What's that?
But you can see everything.
When's
Pictures.
that? Where you guys went to like Waverly?
Know what's on top of it?
I don't know. What I see here is
A face.
mouth like this. Like...
It almost looks like somebody's sitting in a chair. Okay, I do see that. What
Okay.
the crap, man?
And then here is another one.
Usually someone's walking.
Yeah, it looks like a bald person walking.
It almost looks like a creepy collar with the head. Look,
Yeah.
leg, like crawl. What the?
And they talked about there was like this creature that would crawl around on the floor.
Though, there
Yeah.
it is.
And then the last photo we have here is from Randolph that Jeremy took in the basement,
Okay.
facing down the kitchen. I swear, what is that?
What in the world?
What is that old woman's name?
Dorothy?
Is it Dorothy?
Yeah, Dorothy.
Doris.
It's Doris.
Which one was in the room Which one was in that room down?
No, that was Ida, but this is in the kitchen.
Doris.
Doris was always in the kitchen.
That is her.
Yeah, and that's the same one I swear to God told Chelsea. Hello. You know.
She's trying to make you guys some food. She's gonna poison y'all.
But they, yeah.
Girl. No wonder I didn't like that basement.
Yeah, it was something crazy.
Oh my gosh. Jeremy does take some really good photos of those places we
Yeah,
go to.
I don't. Oh my God. I couldn't even imagine coming across something like that.
Was you downstairs when he took that?
No.
Was he brave enough to go by himself?
No, him and Anthony, I think, were together. Yeah, Jeremy wouldn't go in the basement by himself. He was like,
Oh, I wouldn't either.
no.
That basement terrifies me.
Yeah. Our shout out of the week this week goes to Bob Olson for a 7-week streak. So thanks,
Thank you,
Bob. We greatly appreciate
We do.
it. Well, that is going to be it for this episode 5 at Salem's Ghostly Coven. Guys, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you guys get notified every time we post a video. And if you want to share your scary photos or scary videos or scary story with us, be sure to email them to us at paranormalcoven13@gmail.com, or you can send them to us on Facebook. I'm Linda.
I'm Leva.
I'm Emma.
And it's been Paranormal Coven, guys. Good night.
Peace.